and welcome to the Bare Knitting Podcast. My name is Ira, and on this channel I share my knitting projects, my plans, and all the crafty things that I like making. I hope you enjoy my knitting journey. Today I'm located in a bit different location that I usually am. I'm currently in Senja. This is a northern part of Norway. It is located above the polar circle, which is quite far from Oslo, where I normally live. But let's start from the beginning. We started our journey in Oslo, that is located in the southern Norway, and traveled all the way up to Senja in the northern Norway and back to Oslo. And in total it was almost 4,000 kilometers or over 2,000 miles, which is a lot. We never traveled that far with our van. And meet the crew. The main character here is me, Ira, and also my husband behind the scenes. It was our holiday, so the main purpose for this trip was exploring the Northern Norway, and we just bought our camper van, so we wanted to test it in the real life scenario. And of course, I as a big fan of knitting, I wanted to knit a lot and enjoy my holiday with my needles. But as it usually happens, the weather wasn't as pretty as we expected it to be. We started our journey in rainy Oslo. It was cold and a lot of rain, but we were hoping that it will get better. And as you can guess, yes, it got better eventually, and it was amazing to see these views with a lot of sun and mountains. And it was in July, but the snow was still there. But still, it was amazing to see Norway traveling by car. You cannot experience as much as if you travel by plane. So that was an amazing opportunity for us to see more. As you can see, it looks like a postcard on every turn that you make there. We had to take several ferries on our way. So of course, what would you do else other than knitting while you wait for your ferry? And the weather was amazing. It was sunny. Sometimes it was a bit windy since you are next to the sea, but still very, very pleasant July weather. And this water you will see in next videos here is just amazing. You would never have guessed that such crystal blue water can be found so far in the north. At least I didn't expect it. So our plan was to get as far as we can during first 2-3 days. After 2 days of trip, we finally crossed the polar circle, and we did it not by car per se, but on the ferry. On some points when you take a road in Norway, it was so surprising to me that you drive on a road, like a main road, and then it suddenly ends, and then you need to take a ferry, and then with this ferry you cover several kilometers, several tens of kilometers. Yeah, sometimes it's 1 hour, sometimes it can be even more, and then you continue your journey on the road. And with this ferry trip, we crossed the polar circle, and also the views are amazing. It's can you imagine that it is just a part of normal road? My husband is pointing to the Svartisen, which is a glacier. The fun fact about this glacier is that it reaches the lowest point of any glacier in Europe, so you can actually walk from the sea level and touch a glacier. And later I will show you that we actually did it. But it was amazing to see the glacier itself, and also the area and this sea area in Norway. It is very lively. You can meet a lot of big and smaller ships doing, living their lives, and a lot of birds, animals. Just amazing place to be. And we were lucky with the weather. It was sunny and great time to visit this place. So you can see the glacier already from here, and our first main stop, or not stop maybe, but activity of this trip was to hike to this glacier and actually touch it. I don't remember whether I already touched a glacier before, maybe not. So that was a big expectation on that day. And when you when you hike to the glacier itself, you can see that the rock here was under the glacier, so the rock is very polished. I'm not sure how slippery it is if it rains. We were lucky that it was dry and no rain was in that day. But I can imagine that it can be pretty slippery. So if you have trekking poles, it would be great to have them with you if you decide to go there. And of course I had some neat stops there on my way. Next to the glacier it becomes a little bit windier and the wind is very, very chilly because, you know, it's ice. But it is a very pleasant chill because you were hiking and got some hundreds of meters of elevation, so it is nice to have this fresh wind on you, to feel this fresh wind. And of course we didn't stop only on this point when you see one of the parts of the glacier, but we actually decided to go next to it and touch it. Yes, you can see the proof, it actually happened. I wanted to record this video while I'm still here in Senja, as the views here are amazing, and talk a little bit about the project that I'm currently working on. I hope you can hear me well. It is a little bit windy, but the wind is sometimes a bit quieter, sometimes a bit stronger, so let's see how it goes. And also the sun, it's a bit unpredictable. It is quite cloudy today, but still the sun sometimes makes its approaches to shine, which is cool. It's still August, summer, but it is a bit unusual for the Arctic climate, I believe, as it was. I'm here for this 4th day now, and all the days it was very, very warm. One of the days it was even over 30 degrees. Today I think it's around 24-25 Celsius, which is still a bit warm to my taste, especially considering where I am located right now, so high up on the globe. But you know, they say that global warming is not a joke, so yeah, I can clearly feel it. But anyway, it makes the views and staying here maybe a little bit more pleasant. But yeah, I'm traveling with a camper van, and yeah, sometimes in the morning you can clearly tell that it is warm outside, as it's getting warmer in a car. But anyway, it is a nice weather. So far we were lucky with the weather. Only the first 2 days I think it was a little bit rainy, but all the rest days it was very, very warm. As I said, a little bit probably too warm, but anyway, we have what we have. But yeah, I'm recording this video as I wanted to talk with you a little bit about the project that I'm working on. I think I chose, well, at least in my opinion, what I wanted to work on while traveling, and it is the traveler hoodie. This is the second version that I'm making already, which you know, it gives me a lot of sense, because now I'm traveling and working on the traveler hoodie, which is, you know, it's yeah, corresponding with one another, so pretty cool. Yeah, let me show it to you. Here it is. Oop. Yep. So far I made only the front yoke part, and currently working on the back yoke side, just a couple of rounds made, but it is progressing quite far. I'm making this quite modified, as in the pattern you are supposed to start. Let me grab the mic. As in the pattern you are supposed to start in the bottom of the sweater and then knit it from the bottom to the top. But I did the same trick with the first part, my first version of Traveler, and now I decided to do the same with the second one. I start somewhere in the middle, not in the middle, in the underarm area. And then I knit to the top, so I knit the yoke, and then I pick up stitches to knit the sleeves, both sleeves, and then the hood, and in the end I pick up the stitches where I started and knit to the bottom. This gives me a possibility to knit it to the lengths that I want, because this sweater, it grows a lot. And since it grows, it is a little bit unpredictable how far it will grow. The designer in the pattern says that it will grow, I don't remember how much, 15 or 30%, I don't remember. So she says where you need to stop, and once you block it, it will eventually grow to the length that it is supposed to. But with knitting it from the top to the bottom on some point, it gives me more control over it, and if I feel like it is too short or too long, I can easily modify it. So this is one of the reasons why I do it. And the other reason is that I'm using a different yarn that I suppose that the pattern recommends. This yarn that I'm using is a Danish yarn that I bought months or 2 months ago when I was traveling to Denmark. And it is slightly lighter than it is suggested in the pattern. In the pattern it says that you need to use sport weight yarn. This yarn is fingering weight. But I swatched, and the swatch gave me the same gauge as it is expected to have, as you are expected to have in the pattern. So I suppose that I'm good with it. But still, you never know. And also, I'm not sure I have enough yardage of the yarn. I have like 1600 of yarn. I think I have four skeins of 100 grams, which is 400 meters, which makes 1600 meters length. So yeah, if my math is correct. But in the pattern, I think it says you need to have somewhere around 1700. So it might be that I'm a little bit too short in the yarn. I know that the designers usually include some 10-15% more of yardage just in case, so for a swatch, and also just in case is that to make sure that you have enough. So I kind of hope that I'm in this margin, that I'm still okay, but we will see. And yeah, as I mentioned, I started knitting it from the underarm and to the top. So once I pick up stitches, I can knit it as far as I have yarn. So it will be just a little bit more cropped as it was supposed to be, or it will be a normal length. We will see how much yarn I will have left. So this is my plan. Another funny thing is, as you can see, I only have a yoke, but I started slightly lower in the underarm. So I casted on the amount of stitches that you are supposed to have according to the pattern in the very bottom of the sweater. And then I knit like 2 centimeters, and then I divided to the front and back parts, made the front part and started working on the back. And then I figured out that on one place the sweater is twisted. I don't know how it happened, how I didn't pay attention. Maybe it's because I'm traveling and I'm just paying more attention to the views, but less attention to what I'm working on. So it turned out that it was twisted. So today in the morning I had like maybe 1.5 hours of very fun activity. I was making this sweater surgery. So I just cut the strand of yarn that was going under the underarm, and unraveled the part where I started. So now I just have 2 pieces, front and back, and eventually once I'm done with knitting the back yoke and and connect front part and back part, I will connect these parts again and knit several rounds just to make it keep them attached. So I had a little bit of fun today, but it keeps you, at least for me, it gives me more a challenge. And I like knitting. This is why I have this podcast, and I want to share my experience and my thoughts with you. And so I just got a little bit more fun that I was supposed to have. So as I mentioned, now I'm currently in Senja, and tomorrow we will travel to Lofoten. We will not stay there for long, as I'm a bit scared of the amount of people, because in the recent years Lofoten became very, very, very popular, and I don't feel like traveling in the crowd is fun. Even though here in Senja the views are pretty similar, I believe, to Lofoten. but it is less popular than Lofoten, so this is why our choice where we want to spend the major part of our vacation is here, as yeah, it is less crowded here. And so far so good. Yeah, we did a hike already, and today we are going for another hike. I will share the videos and photos with you. While we were on Senja, we made several hikes there. I expected it to be honestly a little less crowded because it is not as popular area as compared, for example, to Lofoten. Turned out that it is pretty famous now among tourists, so yeah, but it's still not too bad. You don't have queues on the mountain or anything like that, but still you can feel that there are some people already. On some point it got very windy, and once we were on top of the mountain where we hiked, we decided not to proceed further where we could because it was dangerous. Safety first, and be careful if you feel like the wind is stronger than you would like it to be. I don't think any photos are worth taking if you can be blown away. And then finally, when we got to Lofoten, I was amazed how beautiful it is there. So people don't exaggerate when they say that it is an amazing place to visit. And of course, I was a bit stressed that it will be too crowded there because it is pretty popular place, but no, it was fine. Maybe because we went there in the beginning of August already, and most of the tourists were there in July. Normally people in Norway take vacations in July, and it is not as popular to take a vacation in August, so maybe that was our secret. And as I mentioned earlier, the water here is just amazing. It is so blue and bright. Suddenly it got rainy and the weather got not so horrible, but much worse than it was before. On some days we had even plus 30 degrees Celsius, which is very, very warm. Then after a couple of days it got very windy and rainy, and the weather got worse. But still, it is a nice place to be, and it has its charm, I guess, when it is a bit moody, and you can experience how it is here, I guess, in autumn or in other periods when it's not too sunny. But still, it is very, very nice, and some people were swimming actually. I wasn't so brave, but maybe if it was more sun, maybe I would be more brave. Another knitting project that I was working on during the journey was Ooey Gooey sweater by Andrea Mowry. It is a new pattern of hers, and I liked it a lot. You can play a lot with the colors. It has color work on the yoke, and in my case I decided to make it mainly in a bright pink color, and the color work was in pinkish, whitish with some specks of blue, yellow, orange, and various colors. But yeah, mainly it is pink. And also I added some white parts for the ribbing. And of course, as it usually happens, on some point I ran out of yarn, so we had to make a yarn stop to buy more yarn. And we went to Grete's Håndarbeit store. It is in Leknes, small town in Lofoten. Maybe not as small as compared to other places in Lofoten, but still not as huge. But the store there, I was amazed how big it was, how big selection of yarn they had. So as a souvenir for myself, I got some Lofoten yarn, and yeah, I haven't decided what projects I will make with it, but I guess very soon you will find out and I will decide what to do with it. And our another stop on our journey was Værøy, which is a small island in the southern part of Lofoten. I'm not sure if it is considered to be part of Lofoten or not, but it is a nice small island, and it's worth visiting for a couple of days for sure. The views there are just breathtaking, and yeah, you can hike in like I don't know, 40 minutes, maybe 1 hour, and you will get on top of a hill and you will see a great 360 view with beautiful sea color, and also it is quite rainy, I guess, there normally. I was lucky with the sunny weather, but judging by the amount of grass and by the color of grass, I can tell that it is an area where it rains quite often. Of course, when I was walking there or taking a ferry, I was hoping to see whales, because in this area it is possible to see whales. I wasn't lucky, maybe next time. And after a couple of days on this island, we took a ferry, got to the mainland and drove back to Oslo. Thank you for joining me and watching the video. Please subscribe if you like my video, and I hope to see you in my next episodes. And now you can enjoy some behind the scenes madness here. Bye! And tomorrow we will and yep. I hope you can hear me well. It is a little bit windy today, and the sun is here and there. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's not.